What is up, everybody? Keith, aka Gear Guy 231. It is Tuesday, January 26th, and we have a 4-game EPL slate. And in probably 4 years of playing DFS soccer, I don't think I have ever seen a slate that is softer priced than this slate. And if it wasn't even soft because of some of the pricing on like the city pieces, then we get all the Southampton value that truly, to steal the words of Blenderhead, makes this a play whoever you want slate more than anything I can think. Like if you decided that you wanted Saka, I'm just going to skip over the fact that Bowen and Antonio are priced before city pieces. But if you want Saka, Sterling, Foden, let's see who else maybe you would want. I know who I want, but I want to like fully give this away, right? Let's say that you decide you want a little bit of Leeds in here, Rafinha, and you want Cresswell. Don't know if you should. Actually, let's not do that. You got to use the Southampton here, right? You wanted Vokins. Then here's the other value for Southampton that I'll give you. Valeri. So we got 2 sub 3K fullbacks, right? Look, all of a sudden, guys, with goalie and utility left, you still have 52.50. And now look, I've had this before where people get on me and they're like, oh, I don't want you to show a lineup. Like, first off, soccer, right? Everything changes when lineups come out. So like I can show you a full lineup here, and the chances of me actually playing it when the lock comes around are very slim. But the fact I just clicked the names at the top, no scrolling, right? Until I got to defender, no scrolling at all. And I'm still well within making a lineup that works. Hell, I could pay up for Ederson. And I'm not going to give you the last piece here, right? Because I'm not going to give a full lineup out. But like, there are plays at 4,600. It's just crazy. So I'm not saying this is the right construction, but just, again, the fact that you can make this so easily because of the values of Voken and Valeri. Because here's the deal, guys. Like, the slate was soft before, right? Like, I didn't even get into the fact, and we'll get here in a second, but that Gabriel Jesus probably, I don't like goal scoring odds. So like, I think it's a public number that is arbitrary, that, you know, it's okay, this team's very favored. This guy's like, they score, here's the number. And, you know, if we're really worried, we're going to juice up the number. But Gabriel Jesus is, you know, it's a 50-50 shot he scores. And even if he doesn't score, there's a great chance that for 6,300, he's paying off your tag. So I didn't even use one of the most underpriced players in the slate and still made this lineup. So it's an interesting slate. I'm going to kind of go over what I think are going to be a few of the inflection points, and we'll go from there. So just a quick reminder, kind of just jumped right into it more before I did the little sales pitch, right? But reminder, bottom right of the screen is the subscribe button. You know, saw our little YouTube stats that despite almost being at 2,000 subscribers, so thank you to everybody that's subscribing. Still, like, more than half of our views are not from subscribers. So if that is you, if you fall into that, please, it's 5:40 in the morning, and I'm begging, hit that bottom right of the screen, the subscribe button. You have no idea how much it helps, continues to help grow our channel, grow our site. All this information out here is for free, so we'd really appreciate that. And then, you know, for all you are the subscribed, hit that like or comment button, especially for lock. I will definitely, you know, have the notifications to my phone to answer questions that hour during the 2 locks. So don't expect an answer. All right, let's get into the odds, and we'll come back to this. So quick odds. I want to start with City because I told you they're super underpriced, and they're super underpriced. Oh man, I can't do the decimal odds. Nope. Way too American for that at 5:40 in the morning. So we have Man City plus some -500 versus West Brom, who, you know, up there with Newcastle, in my opinion, as and Sheffield as the worst EPL teams, especially, you know, from a DFS perspective, ones that we want to target. So City -500. If Kevin De Bruyne wasn't injured, probably it's closer to -800, just to give you a perspective. Second biggest favorite is Leeds versus Newcastle, minus 105. I think that Steve Bruce is coaching for his job today, especially with Rafa Benitez now out in the market again. I guess back from China. So I think Steve Bruce loses like 3-0 here. I think he loses his job. So just keep that in mind. We got the square game early, Palace versus West Ham. West Ham a slight favorite, plus 144, whopping 2.25 total. And then finally, we have Southampton hosting Arsenal. That game just happened on Saturday, but you can't really take too much into it because Arsenal actually started Willian. It's sorry to go on an Arsenal rant, but isn't it kind of funny that they get rid of one albatross? They get rid of Mesut Ozil. Oh, thank goodness we got that off the books. But they signed another albatross this season with Willian, who just is. I mean, he's Ozil 2.0. He's just not going to do anything for them. One of the most perplexing signs. It was perplexing when it happened. It got worse. But Arsenal plus 111 favorite on the road. All right, let's get back to the slate. I'm not going to actually do too much more on main slate construction because I think I just demonstrated. You can play whoever you want. The one guy that you do want to play, as long as he's in, and so that's the other thing we just have to mention. Staggered slate times. All the juice, in my opinion, is on City. So you just got to make sure that you have plenty of room to pivot. The two teams I want to target right away are City and Leeds. Leeds, has been I'm trying to think of the correct term. It's too early for me to think of the correct term. It's been hit or miss. My Leeds stack won me a King of the Pitch ticket, so I'm going to always be a little bullish towards Leeds, and I think that their style is conducive, especially versus the Newcastle team that is going to bunker in the face of pressure, so which leads to a ton of DFS goodness. But Leeds and City is going to be where I want to go. So yeah, I'm trying to think, compose my thought in terms of how I want to say it. So assuming he's in, and I think you have to assume he's in, Phil Foden, kind of plays the KDB role, so to speak, in terms of facilitator. I think the reality behind it, it's not just going to be one person that plays KDB's role, and nobody's going to actually do it because KDB is the true unicorn, right? There's nobody that can replace him. But Foden has been taking some sets with KDB on, so we'll definitely take them with it off. Will he have a monopoly? Probably not. And, I think realistically, you could see Gundogan, you could see Mahrez taking, but if you don't see Mahrez, there's a really good shot that Foden could be on monopoly. But Foden to me is the unfadable. And then I think the other unfadable piece is one of, I don't think you have to play both, but one of either Vokins or Valeri for Southampton. So Kyle Walker-Peters is injured. Ryan Bertrand is suspended. So we have two likely starting fullbacks. There's an outside shot here, right? That Hasenhüttl could do some sort of a back three. They have good center backs. They actually have three good center backs. Liverpool, did you hear that? Southampton has center backs. Go get one. No, I'm teasing, but they're probably not the profile of a Liverpool center back. But anyhow, he could do back three, do something with Gineppo. I don't even know if Gineppo is in. It feels like that guy. The fact that I don't know how to spell his name right now is damning on me. But let's see. Look at that. He's out because he's always out. Could they do a Walcott at a right wing back, do Vokins at left wing back or vice versa, Walcott left wing back. Trying to think if they have anybody else I could profile, maybe Stuart Armstrong, and then Valeri. So you could see them do wing backs. We've seen them do that before, but I still think even if that's the case, there's going to be one of those guys. And for some crazy reason, if none of them are in, you should have enough roster flexibility in the second game. What I would tell you not to do, so I'm just for the sake of things, I'm going to plug in Vokins because he's the most expensive of the two. So if Vokins isn't in, you can easily go down the 100 to get Jan Valeri. But I'm going to argue that with the exception of if Townsend or Eze are out, the only player that can be considered For main, I'm going to go into like early and I'll just break down the little game so you have some chance to do early after this too. But in the main slate, the only way you consider anybody from this game is if either Townsend or Eze is out and you see one without the other. There's a really good chance that they're on a set monopoly. Milojevic could jump in for a few, but we've seen over and over again that Eze or Townsend on the pitch by themselves are taking a monopoly. And I don't think West Ham's the type of team that I'm scared of at all. So, at 6,600 and 6,200, I think you can make the argument that their floor is better than any of the City guys' floor. The City guys' ceiling is much higher, right? So, this is classic City roulette. Like their floors are all, 5 to 6, but they all have huge upside. If City scores 6 goals, you're going to want maximum City. So again, you can argue that you play one of them. You can't play Jared Bowen at 8,400, super bailed out last game with the goal, or he would have been terrible. Aaron Cresswell in a, is actually viable, I guess. I can't see paying, 1,300 more for Cresswell than João Cancelo, given the matchup, but he's valuable at 6,500, so I'm good with that. On half, if not sometimes a majority of set pieces, but again, 6,500. All of West Ham just appears, in my opinion, to be overpriced when you compare them to City. Hell, even if you compare to Leeds, they're overpriced. So this game is just mostly a pass. It's funny, it's the showdown game too, so Showdown, the analysis changes completely. I'm not going to get into that. That'll be, in our private Discord, the course from there. But, I'm sure Cresswell will probably make it one of Townsend or Eze, maybe Bowen, always like Kufal, those type of guys. But yeah, this game could be 0-0, could be 1-1. My mind hasn't spent a lot of time on West Ham Crystal Palace. Maybe it will be for lock for the early slate for Showdown. But again, I think the typical type of players that you want to play, your crossers, your set takers, that's how you compose your lineup from here. All right, let's jump over to Newcastle and Leeds. And then this is where I'll get more into the main slate. I'm just jumping around. It's not even 6 a.m. yet, guys. So, just deal with it. If I'm somehow not clear at all, just hit me in comments, or if you're a member, hit me in Discord. All right. So Rafinha, I think, is a really good chance to be potentially the one guy that you lock on the main slate. 8,000. Look, forward eligibility, we always talk about forward eligibility being huge. And on this slate, forward eligibility is kind of whatever because of the City guys. You got Sterling, Mahrez, Torres. The only F-only eligible guy is Jesus. So, not having, MF type of thing doesn't matter. Play the best plays. Rafinha should at least have some sets, good open play value. It's not bashful in shooting like any Leeds player. That's the test you have to complete to become a Leeds player is, are you scared to shoot? No? Cool. Welcome to the team. You are, go to Newcastle. But Rafinha, 8,000, very efficient price, and we just have good upside with Rafinha, good floor. Their sets have been weird. Phillips went a while of not taking anything. He's back from suspension. I think it was two or three of the last games. Phillips is splitting sets with Rafinha. It doesn't make me want to play Calvin Phillips at 4,400. On a normal slate, right, where I don't have the value and I'm trying to find a sub 5K play, Calvin Phillips would be very in play. John Joe Shelby at 4,900, I believe. 5,000 would be very in play. This slate, not so much. So, I think Rafinha gives me the type of Leeds player I like, just open value and some sets. Jack Harrison, probably not very far behind Rafinha in terms of floor. And in actuality, he has more open play value. The Rafinha set situation, especially versus Newcastle, puts him a little bit ahead of me. But in a stack situation, you can go Rafinha, Harrison, Bamford. There's a pretty easy stack of the two wide guys and the striker. And you go, Rodrigo, a really good pivot off of, that mid 6K range is going to be all City. I mean, I guess it's Jesus, but the way the roster is going to go, you're going to have Rodrigo's going to go really low owned, so I think he's fine. Klitsch, probably not my type of player anymore. He seems to have no sort of set responsibility, but again, if that's not your type of player and he's going to be low owned, then potentially in GPP stacks makes a lot of sense. For early, I'll definitely be using probably at least one of Alioski or Dallas. I think they have a good chance to be very active. Dallas seems to even be a little more active. Consistently, Alioski just depends on game flow. I really do think that the game flow of this is going to be Leeds just pummeling Newcastle with possession, making Darlow, goalkeeper from Newcastle, really interesting because he's going to see a lot of shots. But, anytime that Leeds is going to be pressing possession, is going to have a team that's not comfortable with the Leeds press, I'm really interested in the plays. So, yeah, I think that covers Leeds, Newcastle. So let's go to, the main roulette wheel, which is Man City. You're going to at least take one of Sterling, Mahrez, or Jesus, if not two. And if you really, really want to, they can be three. It is not hard to play three of them. So, minus 500, 3 total. Man City right now is the hottest team in the EPL. I guess United could argue, but City, maybe they don't score at will like they normally do without KDB, but if there's ever a matchup that was like the perfect game to start the no KDB time without, it would be West Brom and Sam Allardyce, who, look, Sam Allardyce versus City is not going to have any sort of forward thoughts. He's a really good chance he puts like 8 behind the ball and just tries to hold on as long as possible. And even if you don't get a goal, at that point, that type of situation is going to actually open up a ton of, City floor that we don't even normally see. So Sterling, Mahrez, Jesus. I think Gundogan's price is a little tough, but with KDB out, Gundogan will be on PK. So we saw that last game. He got the end of the PK. It was actually good before then too. So yeah, I think one of the biggest inflection points, and I told you there's 2 inflection points in my opinion on this slate, and both revolve City. Shocker. First one is, do you play Gabby Jesus, who of all the City forwards is going to have the worst floor playing through the center, but he's 6,300, has a really good opportunity to score. Or do you play a guy like James Ward-Prowse in the next game? Do you play a guy like Townsend or Eze? That's why I brought those up. So I think that's one spot that you're going to be considering if you're there. You could go do different constructions and be completely other places. Like I've done some where I can get up to Saka without any sort of concern. I could play Jack Harrison with Rafinha. I could just play one or the other. Like there's a lot of things you can do. But I do think, a big decision will be coming down to like the City attacking pieces you play, with a big one being Gabby Jesus, because he is not exactly the profile we normally have of a cash player. The other one is João Cancelo, who I think has been phenomenal for City over and over again. Especially in a situation where if City doesn't score in the first half, there's a good chance that João Cancelo has double-digit floor, like in the first half. Especially if we don't see, I think, is it Kyle Walker out? Questionable, especially if you see João Cancelo on the right where he's on his natural foot for crossing. He has a really good floor. The thing becomes, I already showed you earlier that to really unlock like the true salary doesn't matter builds, you have to play Valeri and Vokins, right? Oh, I have it. Sorry, I have it wrong. Selected wrong. Right? And that's where you have 71-40 and you can play anybody. But Jan Valeri is probably good for like 4 to 5 DK. Jake Vokins, I've actually seen play. I think it was like FA Cup, a lot more of a crosser and attacker than Valeri. So maybe he could be a little bit more, but it's not like the fantastic matchup. Like neither one of these guys are getting you like a block for double digits. So you could very easily decide to fade one of them for Cancelo. And guess what? The build still works. Like, let's just plug in Jesus just for an example. And look, you have 6,700 left for what is that? 4 spots? Yeah, 4 spots. So salary still doesn't matter. So you can play João Cancelo without any sweat, probably takes you away from like a Saka play. But, in the scheme of the slate, Saka is probably one of the more overpriced plays considering his odds and considering the city prices. So again, I think that Cancelo is the big point on the slate, and Jesus is a big point of the slate. I would just urge you. Jesus started midweek. Foden started midweek. Mahrez started midweek. A lot of cities guys started midweek. We're in a big fixture congestion still too. So, have some pivots ready. I don't. Torres started later this week. It looks like Torres is kind of on the bench. So, it seems like Bernardo Silva, has been good and will come back in 6,100. He could end up playing over Jesus too. And I think Bernardo Silva from a floor perspective is actually worse than almost any of them. But he's also a good player. He's 6,100 on a -500 favorite, right? So that's the true City roulette. So I have no idea who's going to be up front for City. I feel like Bernardo Silva's coming back in. I can't see him not playing without Foden. I can't see them playing without Gundogan. Can't see them playing without Sterling, right? But the whole, does Jesus start? Does Mahrez start? That type of thing, I really don't know. So yeah, have salary free. Final little spot is Arsenal versus Southampton. The big decision here and the other big inflection point on the entire slate is, do you play Bukayo Saka? I probably butchered it. Been absolutely phenomenal. Let me try to get this a little bit smaller so I can pull up his logs. Since they sat the corpse of Willian on the bench and decided that Pepe is no longer really worth much either, Saka has been nothing short of sensational. Look at that. These logs, 28.6, 19.7, 23.8, 21.2, 18.8. So with those type of performances, 9,400 is not overpriced. I think the hardest thing and why you just want to be careful with your build is Aubameyang is questionable. Martinelli started over the weekend, but so did Pepe and Willian. But if there's no Abba, one of those three is going to come in. And if it is Pepe or Willian, there's a chance that they could eat into the sets of Bukayo Saka, which would hurt. Because if you play Saka, you want Saka on the monopoly. You don't want Saka splitting sets for 9,400 where you passed up on a Man City piece or a Leeds piece to get him. So just know that risk. If all of a sudden, do some searching on the Twitter sphere or wherever and see if we get some status updates on Aubameyang before the 1 p.m. lock, and you'll know a lot better. Because goalie, I keep saying the inflection points. Goalie is always going to be it. Like if you want to play Ederson, it's like you can play Ederson really easily. You want to pay all the way down for Darlow. Darlow could allow 2 goals and still match Ederson, so that and save you $1,800. Make paying up for Saka easy. So that's the other one. Only other decision on here, I mentioned the fullbacks, but James Ward-Prowse, I feel like he's pretty underpriced, 6,500. He killed Arsenal on the weekend. He's set monopoly. Outside of the Liverpool game, he's really close to a lock for double digits. You don't see it here, but just go through the year, set monopoly. Active tackler, probably the best direct free kick taker in the EPL, may even be better than Kevin De Bruyne. So there's always equity in him scoring off a set piece or assist off a set piece. So, 6,500, again, do you maybe play him over like a Gabby Jesus or Bernardo Silva for the floor, understanding that, the upside of the other two is better. That is the way like this slate is going to go. So it's interesting. I hope that this helps. Went through a lot of different things. A lot of that analysis, hopefully you can use for both the early, main, and late slate. Thank you all so much for watching. Keith, a.k.a. Gay Guy 231. See you.